Can you believe it? We're halfway through 2025 already. It feels like just yesterday I was awakening from my New Year's Eve drunken stupor and getting myself thoroughly prepared for the excitement of whatever music was awaiting me this year. So let's be honest with ourselves. It's been a pretty bloody good year so far. Everything's kind of delivered, for the most part at least anyway, and there's been some really nice surprises that have been thrown at me as well from bands I just either never heard of or was completely unexpected. So I've had to whittle it down to 10 because 10 seems to be the most popular number for these sort of things. I could have done 15, but I figured 10. We'll go with 10. Yeah, these are what I consider at the moment to be the 10 best albums of 2025 so far. Now, I've tried to spread this across all the sort of genres that I've listened to. Obviously, because it's me, it's mostly prog rock and metal with a slight leaning towards metal, as you would probably expect. Now, of course, as I say, this is a mid-year point. Everything is subject to change on this list. What's number 10 right now might not necessarily be number 10 at the end of the year, because we've still got a whole 6 months of releases ahead of us to look forward to. Anyway, enough of my whiffling. Let's get straight into things with number 10. Blazing Revelations by Dominic Sanderson. Really interesting one, this one. Now, I was surprised how much I actually liked this album because I'm going to be honest with you all, this kind of Van der Graaf generator style of classic progressive rock ain't really my bag on a general day-to-day basis. So I had approached this one with a certain degree of trepidation. I'd heard a lot of people talking a lot about this record though and saying that it was pretty killer, so I figured I've got to give it its dues and see what it's like. And I love it. I think it's a fantastic record. In truth, if Van der Graaf Generator could capture my attention the way that Dominic Sanderson has done, I'd probably call VDGG one of my favourite bands. But alas, as it is, they aren't. They just aren't. I'm just not a fan of Peter Hamill's vocals, which is a real shame, to be honest with you. I mean, I know some people have labelled similar criticisms at Dominic's vocals on this, but I actually kind of like how he sounds on this. I think it really fits the tone of the music, which is just classic 70s from start to finish. Great album, great cover art, really, really enjoying this one. Will it stick around? We'll find out in December. Okay, number 9. Desiderium, Keys to the Palace. Really love this. Absolutely fantastic record. It's possibly the most positive sounding death metal I've ever experienced in my life. It's all very bright and cheerful despite the growling nature of the vocals and the ultimate feeling that there's something very dissonant going on behind everything. But it's a fantastic time. It's a really, really good time. Quite a long album. It's just over an hour long, if memory serves correctly. And you've got a multi-part epic that closes it off, which sounds eerily similar to some Devin Townsend in places, but as far as I'm concerned, that's not exactly a bad thing. Really great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. And again, it came completely out of nowhere for me. I've never listened to Desiderium before 2025, but I am very much planning on making myself a big fan as things go on. Okay, number 8, Imperial Triumphant and Gold Star. This one came out of nowhere for me. This was a huge surprise for me because I have struggled to get into Imperial Triumphant for like the longest time. There's like a few bands on my list of can't get into, which I've really tried. Swans is one that I'm still struggling to get into despite their new release this year, and Imperial Triumphant is another one. But Gold Star finally broke the glass ceiling for me. I love Gold Star. I think it is brilliant. I mean, yes, it's chaotic and weird and absolutely just harrowingly crazy in terms of what the hell is going on, what am I even listening to with this album? But I don't know, it feels like it's making me retroactively reconsider my thoughts and feelings on the band in general, and if an album can do that for me, I don't know, maybe it's a good starting point for you. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is still a lot. It's anarchic and chaotic and weird, but in some ways it's weirdly accessible in a way that only such an album can be. Give it a go. I think it's brilliant. It's on the top 10 for a reason. Do go check it out. Okay, number 7, In the Woods, ... and Otra. Yeah, I reviewed this one pretty recently, and I stand by everything that I said in that review. This is a tremendously enjoyable album. It's not complicated. It is not at all complicated. It's very much this kind of dark, depressive melodeath that you kind of expect from things like Catatonia, but unlike the most recent Catatonia album, which did send me catatonic, In the Woods have crafted something absolutely bloody brilliant. The melodies are infectious, the riffs are huge, the vocals are outstanding. I'm a really vocally driven person, as some of you probably already know, and honest to God, the vocals on Otra are probably my favourite vocals of the year so far. Every single bit of it just gets stuck in my head, and I feel like I'm never going to get rid of those incredible melodies. Like, honestly, right, okay, that multiple hit combo of The Kiss and the Lie, Let Me Sing, Come Ye Sinners, and The Wandering Day. In fact, it's side B. It's absolutely amazing. Talk about a back-heavy album, sure, but when the back half is that good, who's really complaining? Right, number 6. This feels appropriate considering it's Pride Month. It is Flummox and Southern Progress. Absolutely love this one. In fact, I'm just going to show off the actual vinyl list because it's very pretty. I mean, have a look at that. Bosh. Gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Love it. One of the nicest looking vinyls I've actually ever owned. But thankfully, this album's more than just a pretty face. It's an extraordinarily good record too. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a little bit extra. This isn't going to be the kind of music that appeals to everybody. This is kitchen sink mentality. Throw in everything, hit frappe, and hope for the best. You've got weird circus Wurlitzer music, you've got death metal, you've got just incredibly unusual time signatures and weird segues into music that makes no sense in isolation but kind of works when you mix it all together. It can make for a very disjointed and very angular listening experience, but honestly I think that's half the fun with this record. If you go into it expecting a complete madcap of lunacy and pure insanity, all dressed up in some extremely poignant and relevant lyricism for this day and age, it's one of the best albums of 2025 hands down, and I keep on falling more and more in love with it. Right, we're into the top 5. How exciting. It is Ethmeb and Allo Babar et les Caramboleurs. Yeah, big fan of this. I've spoken about this recently on my favourite foreign language albums, and there is a reason why I'm talking about an album from 2025 on my favourite albums from like any time period whatsoever. What Ethmeb have done here is create something that almost defies classification. If you were to ask me to pigeonhole this into a genre, sure, progressive metal, why not? Let's go with that. It's metal and it progresses things. So I suppose in that regard, it kind of fits the bill. But much like how Flummox's Southern Progress was a little bit of kitchen sink and weirdness, Allo Babar et les Caramboleurs really takes that idea and just runs with it. There is no way you are prepared for this album. There is nothing you can do to prepare yourself. The entire album is just a completely madcap off-the-wall experience. Some people might find it a bit much, and I get that. It maybe is a little bit extra. Okay, it's a lot extra. What am I kidding? But honestly, given the fact that there is almost nothing else like this out there right now, you have to give it props for being utterly unafraid of doing their own thing. Ethmeb are not beholden to anyone's standards. They are living by their own rules, and the album absolutely kicks ass as a result. Okay, at number 4, the biggest surprise of the year for me so far, Jacob Roberge's The Passing. Yeah, I was stunned by this one. This came to me like as a random promo into my inbox one day, and very well presented email, you know, I'm Jacob Roberge, here's my new album, I'm progressive rock, I'm influenced by XYZ. I sort of thought, okay, this sounds pretty cute, let's check it out. And then I saw like there was a 30+ minute epic at the end. I'm like, that is how you lure me in. But in spite of this obvious bait, I was more than happy with the results. The Passing is honestly the album I've wanted from Neil Morse for the better part of nearly 20 years now. Not since Sola Scriptura have I been so impressed with a purely modern progressive rock album. I think this is destined to be a future classic. I feel in 20 years' time, people will be talking about Jacob Roberge's debut album of The Passing in the reverent tones that we speak of albums like Sola Scriptura. I would argue it's maybe not necessarily a perfect album. It does take a little bit of time to wind up to get to the real goods, but when those goods hit, there is nothing else like it this year. The title track Epic is absolutely spellbinding. There are very few words that I have to describe it, but it makes the entire experience alone worth the price of admission. Please check this one out if you have even the slightest passing interest in any kind of progressive rock, because Jacob Roberge is going to be the name on everyone's tongue at the end of the year. Right, we're into the big three now, and surprising nobody, this is where it starts getting pretty darn heavy, because it's me, after all. So, at number 3, Changeling's self-titled debut album. Absolutely extraordinary. There is something about this one that really just knocked me on my ass when I first heard it. It's long, it's strong, and thoroughly absorbent. Toilet paper analogies aside, everything about Changeling's debut album has just ticked my boxes. It's brutal, it's harsh, it's technical, it's creative. It goes unexpected places more often than you think for what is essentially a progressive technical death metal album. The little segues, the little breaks in the action, all these little wonderful nuggets that just coalesce together to create an album that is crystalline in its perfection and absolutely titanic in its impact. I adore this one. It is such a good album that it's only really testament to what comes after this one, which shows you just how good the following albums are when even those can beat this. Okay, number 2, The Callous Cowboys, I Don't Want to See You in Heaven. Yeah, oh my god, this was one of my most anticipated albums when I heard it was coming out, just because of how strong I found Celebrity Therapist from a couple of years back. Now, that album kicks ass. It did then, it still does now. But I Don't Want to See You in Heaven feels like it is the realization of what the band is capable of. They took what they learned from Celebrity Therapist and they dialed it up. They jacked it up to 11. So if you like mathcore, you like weird, crazy, absolutely off the walls, no holds barred instrumentation with some of the craziest kind of post-punk hardcore vocals you ever heard, then that is absolutely going to satisfy you. If that doesn't sound like your kind of thing, you know, I get it. This is not going to be for everybody who watches this video. It's not got that kind of progressive death metal sensibilities that I'm typically known for looking into and enjoying the most, sure. But I'll make an exception for the Callous Cowboys every single time. This record is extraordinary. The final track, the sort of 12-minute ending epic, really showcases just what these guys can do when they put everything away, focus on creativity, and just push out the absolute peak magnum opus of their career. I don't think that the Cowboys will ever be able to top this, because how on earth do you go up from the very peak of your creativity? So, anybody who's been paying attention to the reviews over the course of the year has probably figured out what number 1 is, so let's just rip the band-aid off. It's Deaf Heaven and Lonely People with Power. Oh my god. Wow, okay, yeah. I have a huge soft spot for Deaf Heaven. I am not going to pretend otherwise. Sunbather is on my list of all-time favourite albums, okay? It came out 12 years ago, I think it is now, something like that, 2013 if memory serves, and it's already on my all-timer list, and I am not mincing my words when I say that Lonely People with Power could very well unseat it. I've often thought to myself, when I'm listening to a record, right, When you first press play on something and those opening seconds come in, how you feel in that immediate moment tells you exactly how big of an impact this album is going to have on your life. And every single time I pressed play on Lonely People with Power, that opening dark, swirling synth just chills up and down my arms, because I know what's coming. I know what we're going to be in for. As soon as I hear "All Hail Now the Panopticon," I just want to throw hands and just break things. It's so good. It is so good. It crushes me completely in every single possible positive way. Everything that I was afraid the band were going to lean into harder from Infinite Granite has vanished, and what we have is, in a way, the ultimate expression of Death Heaven as a band. We've not lost the good parts from Infinite Granite, but we've not reverted backwards to just making Ordinary Corrupt Human Love, New Bermuda, or, Sunbather again. We have something that really encapsulates everything the band is speaking of, everything they are capable of, and it is one of the most extraordinary things I've ever heard in my life. The way the album sort of comes in these phases, with the interstitial moments breaking up the album into these perfect little chunks of absolute savagery, a huge cacophony, wall of sound, incredibly haunting, just, oh my God, I am at a loss. I am at a loss as to how anything is going to compete with Lonely People with Power at the end of the year. I invite everything out there to challenge this. I mean, there is an album coming out fairly soon, which is jostling for the second place. I'm not going to lie. You'll have to keep an eye on the channel to find out what that is, though. But we've also got, huge releases from Between the Buried and Me coming. ILO have got a record coming out as well. They're finally getting their sophomore done. And then, of course, we've got An Abstract Illusion. They're bringing out a new record this year. And there's going to be all those other little surprises that are coming out too. So who knows? Maybe something will come along to challenge Lonely People with Power for the top spot. But honestly, at this point in time, I just don't know what can. I really can't fathom what kind of record is going to be able to unseat this for me. But as I said in my review, I can't wait to hear what will do. So there we go. That, as far as I'm concerned, are the 10 best albums of 2025 so far. Thoroughly excited for what happens next. We've got 6 months ahead of us yet of more releases, and who knows what's coming. Maybe there'll be something completely unexpected. Maybe the usual suspects will rear their heads. Whatever happens and wherever we're going this year, I can't wait for it. I'll be bringing you, of course, the best reviews that I possibly can on the new releases, but more importantly than anything else, I want to know what your top 10 of the year so far are. Please leave a message down below to let me know what your favorites are. If you did make it this far, guys, thank you very much indeed for watching, but until next time, as always, keep your rhyme signatures pretty odd.